One of the big themes coming out of its report was accelerating adoption.
3 AI companies all coming out of earnings with strong reports and big future expectations. But
Guidance is likely cautious given the acceleration in business.
MarketBeat's Thomas Hughes shares a list of 3 ignored AI stocks that could have explosive potential.
AI-powered robotics platform, which has a lot of utility for the defense sector, and it's all playing into this long-term outlook, which suggests the stock is relatively undervalued.
Thomas, so great to have you back on the show talking about AI stocks. But as we're learning as investors, AI stocks are a pretty broad area. It feels like everything is kind of playing a role in the AI race right now. But the 3 stocks you have for us today, I'll have a few things in common.
Yeah, they do. They've all recently issued their earnings reports for the calendar third quarter of 2025. And some of the themes they all share are accelerating business. They're raising their guidance. Guidance is likely cautious given the acceleration in business and accelerating adoption of AI. That's the story that came out in very many reports last week. Analysts like them, and institutions are accumulating their stock.
Institutions may like them, analysts may like them, but they're not names we've heard of a lot. And that's why today's list is 3 AI stocks that are kind of being ignored by investors right now, at least not making the headlines that some other names in AI are making. So I'm excited to get into this list. And as always, I'm going to be paying close attention and asking questions to see which one I'm going to add to Bridget's Buys watch list. All of these names have some good growth potential, and so I'm going to be paying close attention and maybe asking more questions than usual, Thomas. So let's dive right into this list for today. What's the first company you have for us?
The first one is Kraken Robotics. This is a small Canadian-based company, but they're focused on deep sea exploration and services and robotics, right? And so this is AI-powered robotics platform, which has a lot of utility for the defense sector and for exploration. So this is really like a two-pronged play on deep sea and AI and robotics, because on the defensive side, oceanic defense, naval defense, undersea defense is very important. AI is going to help enable that to become more powerful. At the moment, we have in the news flow a continual stream of new orders coming in as governments globally that are involved with Western-style defense, NATO-style defense, buying these products. But then on the other side, there's the exploration side of the business. 80% of the ocean's unexplored. Almost 100% of the deep sea is unexplored. Estimates for deep sea resources run in the trillions of dollar range, with 40 trillion about the floor and up to hundreds of trillions of dollars. So this company is right on the cutting edge of exploration, finding and recovering these assets. It's not something that's going to happen anytime soon. It will certainly develop over time. Perhaps Kraken won't be the one to actually do the discovering. Some other company might do that, but it'll be Kraken's robots that are part of the story, and just opens up a really robust long-term growth trajectory for this business. So you've got the exploration and the resources side, but in the near term, you have the defense side really underpinning growth and sustaining the business quality today.
This is so interesting because you think about AI and robotics and all the different advancements the world can make because of the new technology. Ocean exploration is not one that I had personally thought of yet, as where robots and AI can really help us expand our knowledge base. So I love this concept. It's an interesting company to talk about, but their chart is also interesting too. It looks like this company has grown over 1,000% in the last 5 years. So they're already seeing a ton of growth, but still a fairly small company, right?
Right. Well, that's just the story. They've been, developing their technology, building up this base of business that is driving the stock price action. And what is part of the story today and in 2025 are kind of some loose plans, what analysts view as a strategy shift where the company is preparing for a potential listing in the U.S. So it's going to try to move from OTC markets to the Toronto Stock Exchange, which will enable it to do a dual listing in the U.S. That's seen as potentially opening up new business, affirming its quality and its reliability as a business, but also exposing it to a greater share of market participants. So right now, the analysts are covering the stock, not a whole lot of them, and institutional ownership is real low. The dual listing on the TSX and in the United States will help open up institutional investors to this market.
Yeah, of the 3 names we're talking about today, this one seems like the more speculative, kind of early risk story to talk about. Would you classify it as that?
It's more of the speculative risk-on kind of a play. But that said, there has been some de-risking done because the products work. It's making money today, and it's being affirmed by follow-on orders from its clients. So risky, yes, but not as risky as some.
Well, certainly an interesting speculative play for our viewers to look into. I know one of the biggest things to actually being able to invest in these growth stocks is having the cash to do that. I recently found a new app called Monarch Money that helps me keep track of all of my personal finances. It puts in my checking account, my credit card information, and yes, it even puts my investments all into one place for me so I can track how everything is doing, including my portfolio. It also helps me set some goals, which is really important for investors like us. Say maybe this month I want to spend a certain amount of money on growth stocks. Well, I can set a goal specifically for how much I want to save for growth stocks this month. The Monarch Money app will help me monitor my progress, sending me updates to help keep me on track. That way, the next time we have a new video out with some growth stock ideas that are interesting, you'll have enough cash on hand to be ready to invest. If you're interested in checking out the Monarch Money app for yourself and how it might help you budget a little better and keep track of all of your finances in one place, go ahead and use this special QR code I have just for our viewers today. It'll give you a 50% discount to try out this app for yourself and see if it makes a difference in your investing. All right, Thomas, let's move on to that second stock you have for us today.
Yeah, that's Rubrik. Rubrik has become well established in the cybersecurity arena. It is a cloud-based, data-specific platform that helps protect your data, but also help recover it. Recovery is pretty crucial for cybersecurity because once the cyber threats have been mitigated, the business needs to get back up and running, and that's where the real costs are incurred, loss of business and the cost of recovery. So this company helps to reduce the time lag between the event and coming back online and helps recover the data faster. It helps get businesses up and running faster. One of the big themes coming out of its report was accelerating adoption, not only for its services, but for AI and cloud services generally speaking, which provides a dual tailwind. So not only is there demand for its business, but demand for other cloud services will drive more demand for its business over time. So in the report, we had a beat and raise quarter. We're looking for the business to sustain 30% growth over the next couple of quarters, and the guidance certainly appears to be cautious, given an expectation for a sequential slowdown, which is contrary to the trends.
I think the biggest thing with Rubrik right now is just looking at the chart and that really big spike recently. Is that all due to earnings, or what's behind the big more than 20% jump in just the last couple of days?
Right. So over the last 2 weeks, when it reported its earnings, it did have a pretty strong rebound. The market had sold off pretty hard based on valuation concerns and concerns for growth. The earnings report absolutely affirmed that outlook, suggesting that it is going to be a cautious outlook. With accelerating adoption, we can expect to see not only business remain strong, but the forward outlook also become improved because we're looking for more business than we were expecting before. So we see this in the stock price, made a very sharp rebound, confirming some significant support levels back above critical moving averages. We're on track to retest the all-time highs, which to me would be a pretty significant pivot point.
That's definitely some potential for future growth here. And I think that's what analysts are seeing in the stock too. Even though we've had that more than 20% spike in just the last couple of days, it's still trading right now under its consensus price target, right?
Right. So the earnings report did spark a little bit of some mixed reaction amongst analysts. Nobody downgraded, but there were a couple of price target reductions. But the takeaway is that they're reducing to levels that are above the consensus. The consensus is forecasting a 25% upside. That puts the market at 115, which would clearly put us in new all-time high territories and take us across that pivot point. In this scenario, I see this market continuing to move higher throughout the next year.
Yeah, it's an interesting company, one we haven't covered very much. So before we move on to the next one, I want to talk a little bit more about where it fits in the competitive space with AI. What are some of the competitors for Rubrik? And does it offer something unique and different that's going to help it continue to grow, even though there is that competition out there?
Right. It certainly does have a long growth trajectory. With cybersecurity, it's a highly fragmented market. The market leaders only have 2 or 3% market share. That leaves plenty of room for other players to come in and secure their own space and take share from their competitors. As far as competition goes, in that highly fractured market, most cybersecurity companies are niche players. Rubrik is focused on your data and data recovery. So it would be part of a comprehensive cybersecurity plan. As an enterprise, you might be working with 2 or 3 or 4 different cybersecurity companies to ensure that your data and your network and your users and your endpoint and your websites are all secure. So with this, Rubrik is really the basis and the foundation point for your cybersecurity because it is securing your data. Your data is what's being generated by your business and being used by your business, and it's one of the most crucial elements for getting back up and running. So as far as cybersecurity goes, I would expect to see Rubrik continue to be strong over the coming years.
Yeah, I know you've talked about this before about how segmented the cybersecurity sector is. And I think it's an important point for investors to remember when looking at Rubrik or really any name in cybersecurity is that there's room for a lot of different areas of growth in cybersecurity.
Right.
It's not just one field, there's a lot of different segments of it. So, great point, Thomas, always to talk about that with cybersecurity stocks. Let's move on to the third company you have for us. So we've kind of talked about robotics, we talked about cybersecurity. And now, what are we getting into for AI?
Well, this is Snowflake. Snowflake is another data specific company, but they're not a cybersecurity company. They're a data collection, data management, data storage, and analysis. They provide a platform for you to collect, view, use, and share your data across your enterprise or with clients and partners. Within their report, they also announced accelerating adoption of AI and cloud, which just provides a really robust tailwind for the business. We had a beat and raise quarter. We have growth expected to slow a little bit, but into the high 20% range. But again, this is a cautious outlook because of the forecast for accelerating adoption. And it's just all playing into this long-term outlook, which suggests the stock is relatively undervalued. Right now, it's trading at a pretty high value, which is creating some headwinds for price action today based on the long-term outlook of 14 times its forward earnings. This stock really could rise by 100% in the next few years, assuming that it follows through on this robust outlook. The way that it looks now, this outlook is very cautious. So, assuming the company's able to produce and there aren't any disruptive factors that arise, the long-term outlook is possibly cautious as well.
All right, important point to look at with this one too. Several different follow-up questions on Snowflake. This is not the first time we've talked about this company, but I'm still curious about what it actually does. I'm wondering if other retail investors kind of feel the same way. There's so many different areas of AI, and trying to explain what area Snowflake fulfills is a little bit confusing to me. So, what area of AI production or just the AI story does Snowflake really feel, and what sets it apart from the different companies out there in the AI space?
Well, right. So they're using AI themselves to operate their platform. The platform provides AI tools for businesses that help them to manage and use their data. And it's the analysis part of the data management that really stands out as for them as far as AI goes, because data analysis is the root of AI. We're talking about, massive amounts of data mining and deep learning, and using AI to turn that analysis into actionable insights and outcomes for businesses.
This feels like a somewhat similar conversation we had when we were talking about Data Vault. I know that was one company that had made one of your monthly stock buy lists,
Right.
those videos that we do every month. Are they similar concepts or are they different?
They're kind of tangential. Both data management, Data Vault is not so much into the analysis part of it as it is in making your data visible and then quantifying it in a way that you can package it for sale. So, say your business has data and you're putting it onto a cloud. Snowflake helps you manage the data, helps you analyze the data, helps you share the data with your friends, with your partners, with your clients and business people. Whereas Data Vault is taking that data, helping you tokenize it so that you can list it on an exchange and sell it to somebody who might want to use it for their own business. So on the one hand, Snowflake is working for you to help you with your data. On the other, Data Vault is helping you monetize your data for sale to other third parties.
Okay, really great description there. Again, it's so many different areas of AI to explore. And today we were talking about these three names that you really don't hear much of. We know there are many other AI companies out there that we're not talking about every day on this channel. You're not hearing their names spoken on many different news outlets or other YouTube channels simply because there are so many companies out there. When it comes to this whole AI story, Thomas, I'm curious how many of these companies do you think are going to have a long-term future, including these three ignored names we haven't heard much of before? Is it possible that some of them won't make it through? I just want to talk a little bit about just the noise of all the different companies that we're seeing coming up in the AI space.
Well, it is certainly possible that these companies companies will not survive. It's possible they'll be disrupted or acquired. But as far as AI goes, this isn't a flash in the pan. This is a revolution. AI is not going away. It's just a matter of time before everybody is using it in some manner. These companies are all well positioned to roll with the evolution and remain viable in the new technological AI-driven world.
I think that's a good answer, Thomas. There is definitely going to be an AI story continued. Which companies will win, which ones might get taken over, and which ones maybe won't make it that far. That's really the big question for investors to consider. It's what I'm thinking about as I look at these three stocks that you have for us to evaluate today and which one I might add to Bridget's Buy's watch list. Again, three really good companies here, but I think I'm going to go with Snowflake simply because I really like the outlook for this one. I like where the price is right now and how much upside potential there is in this stock and in this company. I am slightly hesitant simply because it's still difficult to understand what this company really truly does. But that's maybe a good way to end this conversation, Thomas. First, what do you think about Snowflake as the pick out of these three? And then, as an investor, do you need to understand all of the technology behind a company, or do you really just need to understand, does this company have the potential to grow and do well in the future?
It certainly helps to be able to understand what the company does. That can help cement in your mind the revenue outlook. And for this business, part of the story is that over the last year, 15, 18 months, it had a CEO change. The new CEO came in, made some changes that reaffirmed the robust outlook. So in the case of Snowflake, there were some doubts creeping in, but those doubts have been laid to rest. And now it looks like the growth path is clear and clean and accelerating.
All right, well, let's hope it's a good one for Bridget's Buys watch list. Again, you can scan the QR code or click the link in the description to follow along with that watch list and see the other names that we've added from some of the videos we've talked about through the last few weeks. It's really interesting to follow, and I hope you'll check it out and take a look. Again, marketbeat.com/Bridget to check out that watch list. Thomas, thank you so much for your time today and for bringing us three AI names we haven't talked about a lot on the channel, and maybe some investors haven't heard of at all. Let me know in the comments, are any of these names new to you? Have you heard of some of these companies before, or is this the first time you're hearing about them? I'd love to hear your thoughts on any of them in the comments too. Thanks for watching, everyone. As always, happy investing.